Good afternoon, everybody. Wee Paddy from across the shock, and this is Saturday, which of course is my new thing. It's the subscribers' questions, question and answers, anything to do with knives. I will answer them all. Now, if I don't get them all answered today, because I've had quite a lot, if I don't get them answered today, they will be answered at some stage over the next few weeks. I'm going to catch up to everybody's questions and hopefully answer them all as fully as I can. I already loved this format last week because I had something to talk about. It's very hard to decide what so many people want to talk about when you've been doing it this long. You've heard an awful lot of things, but yous are amazing. I put a shorts video up yesterday. Normally when you ask people to comment at the back of the video, very few do. But I put a shorts video up asking for you to do it. Boy, that shorts video worked. I've got about, I think I must have 13 or 14, and they're really good questions. Now, some of them are very similar, and if they are, I'll say, look, I've just answered that. What's that answer? But, I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this. So I'm going to get started. And I'm just going to start from how they came into me. And the first one is from, I've got a computer over here, by the way. Well, it's not a computer, it's a Chromebook, so I can watch the questions and do a video. I'm a technical genius. 2 screens. PJ Anderson asked me, if a knife says Soligen Germany and then in smaller print Japan, what does that mean? Quite a difficult question to answer completely, but my guess is my answer would be that the knife, the company is in Soligen Germany, but I would say that the knife could be made in Japan and then they put their stamp on it, much like it's just an OEM. They're using a Japanese OEM to make their knife for them. So they'll put, the Soligen Germany is where the knife comes from and being bought from. But the Japan underneath in small is that it was probably made in Japan, or the parts were made in Japan and sent to Germany to complete. I think that's about as best as I could give that. But anybody else down below thinks that I've got it wrong, please come in and say, because this is just Paddy. So the next one down, sorry, that was from PJ Anderson. Brummy Ninja, what a great name for a thing. Hi Paddy, best budget knife UK legal carry 2022. I didn't buy a whole stack of knives in 2022, but this one to me is new to me in 2022. I'm not even sure when it first came out, but it's from a company called Twisted Assisted here in the UK. And, I'm going to answer these questions a lot for UK viewers because this was specifically asked UK legal. So I have no doubts whatsoever that I'm telling you this to me. Now, it's saying budget, but this is about £60. But if you want to invest in a good knife with a deep carry pocket clip, micarta handles, and a beautiful little blade, which is the whole blade itself is under 3 inches, there's no problem. You have enough point. It's in D2. I think for 60 quid, this is just the bomb. It really is an absolutely beautiful little knife. Not too thick, comes down to a fairly good edge. In fact, comes down to a really good edge, but just an absolute on-rounder. So Twisted Assisted, just type it in Instagram or go to twistedassisted.co.uk. This is amazing. And you can get so many different handle materials for this, from titanium down to G10. Fantastic offer, 60 quid. Now, if you wanted to go half of that, this is actually really simple because it's a knife from the same company and it's their traditional knife. So if you wanted a more traditional knife, this is like a Lanny's clip. Again, from Twisted Assisted, UK legal, an absolutely beautiful knife, carbon fibre, and not cheap carbon fibre, good carbon fibre. Look at the movement in that carbon fibre. Beautiful big blade, maybe not as thin behind the edge, more of a working knife. This is under £40. Again, Twisted Assisted. Look, the fella that runs Twisted Assisted is buying knives that we can buy here for a price that's even better than America sometimes now. So it's great, and especially after you pay customs and everything. These are fantastic. 2 great options. I hope that answers that question. Now, let's move on down. That was Brummy Ninja, yeah. Dutch blades. What handle material would you choose for a custom slip joint if cost or scarcity was irrelevant? Absolutely super question. For me, this might even get a bit controversial. Um, the mammoth bone, a really lovely piece of mammoth bone, I think is just fantastic. And if that was out of the price range, this is probably a similar price range. I don't know why I'm saying that. But elephant tusk, I would really like one that's ethically sourced. Well, even if it's from the, I've just covered myself in fluff. I would elephant tusk. I would really like, as long as it was from an era when it was legal. That's not really true, but yeah, I would love elephant tusk, or probably mammoth ivory would be the one. Elephant ivory, mammoth ivory. But fearing them two and going down to just a more normal level, I would really love a knife with soup bone in it, dyed reddish, maroonish colour. I just think that soup boneless, because you've actually got the channel where the inside of the bone would be. What do you call that stuff the dogs like? Oh, I've gone out of my head. But that's nothing unusual. But yeah, soup bone, a bit of soup bone would be lovely as an alternative to ivory or mammoth tusk. I hope that doesn't upset you, but you get the honest answer here. Wayne Phillips, or even, let's see, he must have asked maybe two questions, or even budget, mid-range and high-end range. Well, I think I've answered that. I'll go back. Wayne, I'll come back if you've got another thing. This is from triple one XO. G'day. I take it he's Australian. Do you have any experiences with early cold steel carbon V knives? Maybe the classic Stockman Jr. Been carrying one of these for decades. Can't remember when they came out. Obviously my favourite. The blade's patina is nearly black now. And maybe a comment on Rough Rider Reserve Hedgehog and the Ohio Rivo Jack. Both bought today. Thanks for your videos. Preventing some bad choices. That's really nice of you. Thank you so much. Right, let's start at the beginning. Cold steel, I can't help you at all. I've got two cold steel knives. I have the American Lawman, which is just new to me. Beautiful knife. The one thing that I've found out with cold steel that few have had over the years is their sharpening is absolutely amazing. They come razor sharp. The only other one I have is the Oz 8, which cold steel done incredibly well. Is this Oz 8? I think it is Oz 8. Yeah, Oz 8. This is their bushcrafty sort of a knife. I can't remember what this is called now. The Fin Wolf, I think. And another cracking knife if you want to take a knife out if you're going into the woods for a walk. Perfect. It's like a folding, well, it is just a folding woodsman's knife. So I've not had anything else from Cold Steel. So sorry, I can't answer that question. But I love patina. And maybe I can't. Rough Rider Reserve and the Ohio River Jack. The Ohio River Jack looks beautiful and looks really well made. It's not for me. And that big shape, the fat shape like the elephant's toe, is not something. I think I've only ever kept one, and that was one that I got off AliExpress, because truly I don't like the two blades. Having the secondary blade there when you're holding a knife, very uncomfortable. This is the only sort of elephant's toe I have, which is a cheapie from AliExpress, and it's fantastic. It's only got one blade, really thin and beautiful in hand. The only one I've kept, and so I can't give you any help. Now, what I can help you with, for me, and I can only give my answer to these, is Rough Rider Reserve, I think, are fantastic. I don't like an awful lot of their models because they're too big and wide. They're putting channels in that are twice the size needed for a three-bladed knife. So I buy the single-bladed ones. This one I can highly recommend. This Wharncliffe is a a sway back, and it's got a finger groove, which I love on a knife anyway. But this is beautiful in D2, super knife. The other one I can recommend is their Barlow. What a stunning piece of kit. I love that fat spear, absolutely stunning, and I can recommend it. I just don't like the double-bladed ones, so I think the Hedgehog is a multi-bladed. So as of yet, I haven't felt one in hand that I like. I actually stopped buying them because they were doing so many in the double blades. But they're starting to make smaller ones now, which I like. There's another wee one that's a sheep's foot. It's only about 3 inches closed. I fancy that one. That could be in the horizon. So, sorry I can't help you with coleslaw, but I hope the answer to the other questions help you. Knife delights. Do you prefer bone or stag handle covers? I prefer bone. I don't have a whole lot of stag. I just got a new stag. This one's from Ashley Harrison. It's the most beautiful bit of stag. Look, the bark is just, it's been cut away. It's gorgeous. And look at that for the show side. That is beautiful. So I've got a couple of other stag handles, and I like them, but I've never had one that I want to use a whole lot or carry too much. I think more I've had them for the collection, but I do like that one, and I plan to use it. So hopefully my love of it will improve. The other thing is bone is just beautiful. This is just cow bone or cow shin. Look at the way this has been cut away. You know, it's just a cheap bit of cow bone, but it's been left natural rather than done anything fancy to and smooth or jigged. Although I do like a jig bone, but that is one of my favourite knives. Full stop. It's a gorgeous, and the majority of it is just a bone. I just love it. So there we go. That's that one answered. Thank you, Tom over at Knife Delights. Appreciate you. Always comments. Thank you so much indeed. Wayne Phillips. Hi, Paddy. Not sure if this is a question which will make it to the choice, but my question is, what is the best budget knife of 2022? Now, that leaves it open to worldwide. But I'm going to give this answer, and yes, it's worldwide, but it's going to be really controversial because we're only counting knives that I've bought this year. I'm not counting, knives that I haven't seen or haven't held, and I didn't buy a whole lot. But apart from the Twisted Assisted, which are both fantastic, which I've talked about, I got this one today, and I believe it is the best budget buy by far, and it's a Ganzo. This is the copy, not a copy. This is something that looks like an R2-D2. This is the Ganzo's version of it, and it is the, let me just get my glasses on. This is just fantastic. I've handled it quite a few times. I got it off my friend, and I just got it off him today. But I've been handling it off him for a while. It's got to me. FB727S for small. They also do one the same size as the Rat 1. But this has got, obviously, a G-lock on it. Listen, look at that bounce and that. This is just, look, it is stunning. Absolutely stunning. It has, I never even checked with them, 440C. Which is much better than the original Oz 8 that was on the Rats. Was it Oz 8 on the Rats? Yeah, I think it was Oz 8 on the Rats. I think they do a D2 model now, but I checked the price of the D2 model this morning, and over here in the UK, it's about 60 quid. And to me, it's not worth that. This you can go on to a couple of places I'll give you. Moonraker has them. Springfields might have them. They're a bushcraft, more of a bushcrafting company, outdoorsman. But Springfields, go on to that. Just go on the internet, type in Springfields. Moonraker knives, and Heine Haynes has some Ganzos in at the minute. But if you can get this smaller version, this is so much better than the Rat 2. Honestly, in hand, I can sneak up really well on this. It's more comfortable in hand. It's 440C, which is a great steel. Nice pocket clip. Really lovely. Although it's a locking knife and not legal to carry outside. If you want a budget knife, this is fantastic. I just think it is super. So that's a bit of an unusual one. See, I don't buy a whole lot. And the Ganzos, I'll be doing a Christmas knife sort of theme coming, and I've 3 there that I think, including that one, that anybody should buy at any time. If you want to do a beater knife, they are still, I had them in the beginning of my channel, and I can still recommend them today after 6 years. There's not many knives that'll do that if you sort of skip 6 years and see what you have. So, I hope that answered your question, Wayne. Thank you very much for your question. Dawn C. Maybe favourite fillet knife or kitchen knives and shapes? Dawn, that's a great question. And I answered you anyway this morning, but most of mine I've left down the caravan. You always leave something. But my kitchen knives, my steak knives, that I use, which is a beautiful knife, my steak knife. But I'll go down the next couple of weeks, to go down and pay my rent anyway. So I'll go down, pay it, and I'll bring up my kitchen knives and I'll show you. I'm very simple with kitchen. And so's my wife. We both don't like huge, big kitchen knives. We're not that good cooks. So I'll do that for you, Dawn. That will be coming in a future episode. But thank you again for your question. This is from Hector O. Question. Excuse me. When buying a budget blade does not make sense, having a lot of sub $50 units in my collection, I felt sometimes those pieces decay too quickly in their sharpness. In their sharpness after simple tasks. Hector, I mean, the simple truth is that you're buying a budget knife and you'll use a budget knife more than you will an expensive one because you're not worried about what you do with it. And you'll use it on tasks that will maybe dull even the best of budget blades. This is where I fell into the trap when I first came around this. Although I was doing a channel, I got hundreds and hundreds of budget knives. And yes, it's great when you find a new bargain and you can pass it on to somebody else. But there comes a time in your collecting life where you need to go up that next range, because to keep buying budget knives is really... Now, if that's all you can afford, that's all you can afford, and you keep doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can build up a huge range. This is the era of budget knives, but it's the era of everything else. That from 50 to 150, you can pick up some fantastic knives now that were not available at that price when I first started. And a lot of people, the budget range 60 to 150 has got some amazing knives in it. I mean, just the one that I got this year, the 945. I got this, it's smaller than the 940, which you don't really need. The 940 is a perfect size. But I just like a wee pen knife that I can sneak up on the choil. It's a pen knife size. It's even lighter. Do you know what I mean? It's just a fantastic little knife. So that's in about the 135, I believe, 135, 140. Stepping up from 50 is just a matter of saving a wee bit longer and taking that risk. Even if you want to start at sort of the high-end Civivis at 80, 90 pound, they're amazing quality with steels that will last longer. And that's what you want to check for, that you want steels that will last longer. But to be honest with you, I don't care what price a knife is. If I need a knife, I don't care what price it is. Just sharpen it. And until you learn to sharpen, you're restricted in what your knife knowledge can be, because you're frightened of some blades that you can't sharpen, and it's nonsense. Once you can sharpen an 8CR13, everything else just that's going up in the market is just a matter of taking a wee bit longer to sharpen. So that's about it. Learn how to sharpen, and then no knife should share you, because even if they're a budget blade, you can carry a little small stone with you and sharpen anywhere you go at lunchtime, and it'll do you for the rest of the day. So I'm always saying that, but yeah, sub 50, you can get dodgy steels. But then there's Ganzo's, which is 440C, which is an absolutely cracking steel. I stand by it fully. If it's heat treated all right, and Ganzo done it pretty good, sometimes you sneak the odd 8CR13 in, but that's, when you're paying 20 odd pound for a knife, who cares? 8CR13 is a good steel, keeps an edge fairly long, easy to strop up. So there we go. I hope that helps. And if I'm talking to the converted, just tell me to shut up. The departed Mac. That was Hector O that said it. The departed Mac. What are some uses for a knife that people should use more? What are some knife skills that people should practice more? My goodness, there's an interesting question. Not had that one before. What are some uses for a knife that people should use more? To be honest with you, if you're a knife person, the more you use your knife, the more you'll appreciate what that knife is. And, we're talking about prices and all. You can be able to discern what is a good budget knife that will do you for a working knife, and then be able to buy a knife with even better steel maybe, but not have to rely on it for doing working tasks. And again, a lot of that's down to sharpening. Sharpening is the biggest thing I'm going to push during this. It's funny, I had my mate Justin around, on the podcast, and I was teaching him to sharpen today. It was our first session, and he done incredibly well. And the joy that people get when they learn how to sharpen. What are some uses for knives that people should? Just use your knife more for everything. Anything you can cut, pry, poke, use your knife. Don't break it, but use your knife. and find out what its limits is. And that's where the budget knives come in, because the thinness of the tips and all, you can experiment with them, what it would take to, push them to their limits. And then you know not to do it with your more expensive knife if you go past that. The knife world, if you get into it, there's so many different things in it. It's not just having knives. It's that whole thing. And like learning how to whittle. Just get a bit of stick up and learn how to do knots that you would lose for bushcraft. If you go onto one of the bushcraft channels, follow them. They always are making notches, hooks, anything that they can use around a bushfire. They're great things to learn and teach your grandchildren, because if we don't teach them that, they'll lose it. It'll just be lost. So that's what some bushcraft stills are really super useful to use, especially if you're even going for a picnic and you want to rig up a thing to boil a can of water over the fire. Your grandchild watching you do that and seeing you making the simple thing, oh, teach me how to do that, Grandad. That's, or Dad, that would be the best thing that you can do. So yeah, some bushcraft skills worth having. There we go. Thank you, the departed Mac. That was a lovely question. What knife skills should people practice? Again, the one and only one is definitely sharpening. That'll keep haunting you if you ask that question. Do you prefer hollow grind, full flat grind? Ever think about doing any more bushcraft videos? Oh, there we go. In a perfect world, folders or fixed blades? Me with knives, that is really good questions. Do you prefer a hollow grind or a full flat? Controversial. Do you know, it just depends. It really just depends. I think the knife in itself, when somebody decides to do a hollow grind, they've decided that for a reason. So if they've done it with their own reason, whatever it is, I love a hollow grind. I love that incredibly sharp, just melting through even a bit of paper. I mean, people say I don't cut paper. I love cutting paper. Any bit of paper I get, especially receipts, I have drawerfuls of receipts because I love just slicing with a knife to see that it's just that feeling I love. Crazy. I'm an old man. Humour me. So a lot of the times I like hollow grinds, but if I want to do something that's going to be a little bit harder use, I tend to go to flat grind then. So there you go. If it's a wee bit of a harder use and not so thin behind the edge, flat grind is much more suitable for most of the tasks that I have. So there you go. There you go. That was good questions. Oh, perfect folders or fixed blades? 100% folders. Even if they give a law said I could carry a folder, here, I would definitely stick with a folder. If they could say we could carry fixed blades, I would always have a folder. I might carry the fixed blade, but I'll always have a folder. It's just a folding fixed blade. That's all I'm sorry, but that's all it is. But there's an ideal time for fixed blades, and most of the time a folder will cover the job. Sorry. Thank you very much, Meevan. I really appreciate that question. Aspen Page, what's your favourite steel? I'll give you a budget steel, and I'll give you a mid-range steel, and I'll give you what I conceive to be, or what I perceive to be, a high-end steel. Budget steel, 440C. Love it. And it's always going to be between 440C and VG10. Two smashing steels, get a wicked edge, easy to sharpen, easy to strop. Love them. The higher end steel that I have used most of, because I can't say something that I've only got one steel. I've got K390, I've had S90V, but I've only ever had one of them, so I don't think that's a good thing to... I honestly believe the best that I sort of use now is got to be M390. It's such a balanced steel. It doesn't rust very easily. It lasts a long time. It's still easy to sharpen and strop. So I suppose that would be it. Yes, I would love some of the Magna Cut to see what they're like, but I haven't had them. So out of my own collection, it'll be the 440C and VG10 and the budget end steels. M390, it's just a good all-round steel. And the one that will not shock a lot of people, but they'll maybe not understand, is I love 01 tool steel or 1095 on the slip joints. Two fantastic steels. They'll rust. You have to check off them, take care of them. They're tool steels, but I love especially 1095 that I have on my GEC knives and a lot of other ones. I just love 1095 because it literally strops back and it'll nearly come back to exactly how you started. Fantastic steel, just great to work with and so easy to sharpen. So there we go. 440C, 1095 and M390. I hope that answers that. Aspen page, yes, yeah. Ghost from Lowlanders, what's your favourite handle material, scale material? At the moment, it's bone, like I said before, but I would love ivory or mammoth tooth. So, that's it. Thank you very much, Ghost Malone. Oh, 2 questions. What's your favourite blade shape and why do you prefer that shape? Okay, again, really a simple question. It's my favourite blade shape in use, and that's what I got the answer I can give you. It's not an all across the board favourite blade shape, but it's my favourite blade shape for use. If you don't know what you're going to do, having this in your pocket is my chosen one, and that is the spear point. It is just a fantastic, this is the fat spear point, which would be my definite preferred, and this is hollow grind. This is a slicing machine. It can pry because you got that thicker tip on it. It can do a bit of prying. It's just a super knife, cardboard destroyer. Absolutely love the spear point, and it really is, and it's my favorite because it's the best all round that I believe. There's plenty of, look, I love all blade shapes, as you know. I have a wild collection of knives, but they're, you know, I don't have too many doubles in one sort of category. I have multiple of spear points. The prettiest is a clip point, without a doubt, in my eyes. Although last year, the drop point has been coming into play a bit more than it had been originally. So, but yeah, there we go. Ghost Malone, go over and check his channel. There's a great boy to come. My goodness, did he get through all of them? That was fantastic. Look, I can't thank you enough. I've really enjoyed being able to answer the questions. We're under half an hour. If you don't get to watch it all at one go, watch it in bits. But if I can ask you one favour, hit the subscribe button if you like this nonsense. Half of you don't subscribe. It's free and it lets you know when I'm making another video, which I hope you've enjoyed today and I hope you'll enjoy in the future. And if you're leaving now, hit the wee like button. That gets my video out on YouTube so that more people get to see it. It's all a bust. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much indeed. Write me a comment on what you thought of this venture now, this one of answering your questions. And if you want to see more of them, again, at the bottom of this video, ask questions for next week. I will answer them all. Take care, everybody. Paddy's away. Bye.